If you're a homeowner on the Wirral and you need to sell your home in the next 3 months, then you need to stay watching. My name's Pete Butler. I'm an ex-agent, ex-estate agent, work for Countrywide and all that sort of thing. Many years in the property industry. Today I'm with Ray Purchase. Ray, welcome.
Nice to, yeah, good to see you, Pete. You okay?
Cool. So, Ray, yeah, just wanted to introduce you today, or to obviously, basically highlight the services that you provide to people that are looking at moving home in the next possibly 3 months. Obviously, we've just had a bit of an off-air chat about, traditional ways of selling a house, i.e. sticking your house on the market, waiting for the estate agent to take the photos, list it, do the phoning out of all their applicants, getting the offer, negotiating the offer, dealing with all the hundreds of people, well, potentially, multiple people in the chain. That's when you're selling a house and buying a house up and down the degrees. Can take up to about I've got it down as 150 days. What's it like where you are?
I think, well, I spoke to a Rightmove rep probably 2 days ago, and they said the average now from the start it goes live, so in other words, the day you list it, till the day you move out and the buyer gets the keys, is 6 to 9 months on average. And that's across the whole of the country, to be fair. It's not like a particular area, but it is the average. So you can kind of if you put your house on the market now, you're going to be still there in 6 months, maybe 9 months before you move. That's the average across the UK at the moment.
Yeah, and it's not usually the agent's fault, is it? It's usually this thing called the legals and the multiple people that you've got in the
it's not the agent's fault. It's the agents will market it, but the problem you've got is private treaty, like estate agent sales. You get an offer. If I said to you, Pete, you've got an offer on your house, you go, okay, then, right, perfect. When are we going to move? I'd say, I don't know. Or when is it going to complete? I don't know. There's no date.
How long's a piece of string? It is how long's a piece of string, isn't it?
And it's the problem you've got is that's the differential between estate agents and auctions, because auctions is the fall of the hammer. It's a legally binding contract. With estate agents selling, we've had an offer, the offer's accepted, and then we go to legals. But if you can imagine, say it's 3 months from the day you sell, you've agreed an offer today, Pete, to the day you get your money. In that 3 months, a lot can happen. A buyer could go, because the old thing of, especially with Rightmove, and you get the Rightmove alerts, and everyone who's looking will have a Rightmove alert now. If you buy a house today, you don't cancel the Rightmove alerts; they still come through.
Yeah.
So even though you've agreed to buy property 1, what happens in a month's time when property 2 comes up? That's better than property 1. You go after property 2. That's what buyers do. The good thing, that's the difference between the auctions, see, because it's legally binding. They've exchanged contracts, they've paid a deposit, they're good to go, and everyone knows when it's going to complete. It's a totally different process.
So I've described the long route, or the go around the town, get on like a 6 month or 9 month journey, as Rightmove have said, and they're pretty solid on their stats. Your alternative, or via auctions, how long does that take?
It's 30 days marketing normally, and then the completion date is set at 30 days. So in 60 days in total.
Whoa, serious?
Yeah. So
cash in the bank.
Cash in the bank. So how we'd like to do it is we have an auction the last day of the month, say, as you would say. And then, so we start marketing on the 1st of February.
Yeah.
The auction would be the 28th of February, say.
Yeah.
If it sold on the 28th of February, 30 days later, the seller would get the funds and the buyer would get the keys. Simple.
And what sort of and what sort of situations would people use an auction? I mean, what's the types of families that you've dealt with in the past? Is there anything? I mean, is there?
Well, we deal with a lot of probate cases. People who've inherited the property, sitting empty. and they just want to sell it as quick as they can, which is understandable because otherwise they've got a check on it. The council tax is always increased after a certain period of time. You've obviously got to worry about any leaks and anything like that because it's sitting there empty. Divorce, we've had people selling them with divorce. The thing is it's people always ask the question. I don't think my property is an auction property. We get it all the time. I always say it's not the property, it's the person selling it. Because any property can be, any property can sell at auction. We've sold stuff, the bottom end at 25 grand up to 780 grand. Wow. We've also sold stuff that's totally needs full refurbishment to stuff that's been fully refurbished previously. It's not technically the property, it's the person who's selling the property. Are they in a position where they can sell quick? Are they in a position would they like the funds quicker than a normal process and be able to control it more? Because with auction, the seller is always in control because the buyer's paid his deposit, they've exchanged contracts, they're legally bound to complete. Whereas selling with an estate agent, I believe the buyer is always in control because they can pull out that sale just like the seller can, but it's mainly the buyers that pull out the sale at any process from the day of the offer to completion. Because I think the fall through rate on selling with an estate agent, I think it's 3 and 5 technically fall away and they probably come back and sell again, but the average is between 2 and 3 out of a 5 cycle, where in auction it's less than, I think it's 0.1%.
Yeah, I mean,
it's a big difference.
There's a massive difference there, and I've sat in many of estate agents' offices with people crying because they've lost the dream home, and it was no fault of their own. It's just that one, how long it takes, i.e., how long's a piece of string? When do I, selling traditionally, how long's a piece of string? And that string can almost be a year effectively. And I'm working on all the stats now, which is like, basically 40% of any house sale. Obviously, the more links that you've got in any kind of technical chat term, how many people are, if you're selling for a traditional format, or you put your house on the market with a traditional estate agent, you've got to then find another house and that sort of thing, and they've got to find another house and so on and so forth. You've got lots of chances of actually falling through. So
100, and especially now with the market, especially with the market rate of the mortgages now, someone's affordability today may not be the same affordability in a week's time. So if it can change in that much of a cycle, imagine what it can do in 3 months, 4 months. So if you agree a sale with someone today and they say, yeah, I can afford that, I've got an offer in principle, but that deal runs out, there's a chance they have to then get a new deal. They may not be able to afford that new deal. Auctions it cuts out a lot of the hassle because the paperwork's done at the start. So obviously every sale we do has an auction pack, which is all the legals done before we even sell it. Whereas estate agents do it the opposite way. They sell it and then go through all the legal process.
That's what takes forever, doesn't it?
Yeah, it takes forever. And obviously getting paperwork back from solicitors and sellers signing paperwork and buyers signing paperwork, it can take 3 weeks just to get one piece of paper back. And that's why the cycle is so, because there's no deadlines, is there?
No. Nobody wants to commit. Nobody wants to commit until a mortgage offer's done. So it can take, and that's the thing with private treaty, but obviously for auction, you've got a date, haven't you? You've got, you've
got a date. Do you know what I mean? If you agree to sell your house with us today, I could give you the date and when you can get your funds, and that's the simple process.
What do the homeowners need to be? Do they need to be thinking of anything before they speak to you? What do they, in order to sort of get?
Not necessarily. It's just, are they in a position, or would they like to sell that quick? Because it's, some people can't do it. They couldn't. Do you know what I mean? They couldn't put it on the market today and then sell 30 days later and then complete in 30 days because they may have to find another house, or it should be too. We have a very intensive marketing because obviously we've got to market it to its full potential in 4 weeks.
Yeah, get the best.
So we've got to get as many people through the door as possible in them 4 weeks, whereas estate agents have got a longer period to go. So some people, if you can imagine, that we've said, well, okay, we've put your house on today, I've got 10 people wanting to view tomorrow. It can be quite, oh God, I didn't think it'd be like that. It'd be a bit worrying. So it's just whether you want to be in that position where you know when you've got to be out if you're living there, or are you in a position to do that? That's the main thing when I speak to sellers. It's not about the property really. It's about them as a person. The properties, people go, yeah, but it's the main thing. It's not, that's second. It's about the person selling it. What's their goal from it? Like we had one recently where the lady lived in London. Her brother lived up here but went into a care home. It'd been empty for 6-12 months. He's in a care home. She's in London. They just need to sell.
Yeah.
So obviously it needed a bit of work. It was a case of, we don't want to wait for 6 to 9 months and go through the whole rigmarole of having to check on the property. She was having to come up and check it every so often and get the neighbours to check it and make sure it was all right. The neighbours were putting the bins out and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it was a case of that come on the market. That one should have went to the market in the end of February, to be fair, but it come on the first week in January. And I think it was on the market for 10 days and then we sold it because the amount of interest we had. So that one completes tomorrow.
Lovely.
So that's because they were in a position where the house was empty. They wanted a quick sale. And then the problem you get with auctions is everyone says, oh, you get a quick sale, so you get less, don't you? Everyone says, we'll get less for what? Do you know what I mean? Will I get less money for me property? Well, that one was a guy that had 182. We sold it for 264.
Whoa. Almost 100 grand
So,
more. Is that right?
Yeah. Right. I think it was about 80 odd grand more than the guide price there or thereabouts. But then round the corner, there was a property on the market with an estate agent that come on at 250, then reduced to 225, then reduced to 200, and that sold for 207. Similar style house, similar area. It's just, it'd been on the market for too long. And then it's been driving down the price, and eventually, so they sold at 207, where our one sold at 264.
Yeah, and houses are still, yeah. I mean, we speak, seeing houses on the market now a lot longer than what they were a year ago because of circumstances. So if you're in a, and the beauty is obviously your fee structure. How much do you charge the seller?
So the sellers, we charge the buyer a fee, so the sellers only pay for the legal stuff, which is like the solicitor's fees and the legal pack. So if you budget all in, I'd say £1,500.
Okay.
That covers your solicitor's fees and your legal pack. But that's the only fee they pay.
Right.
The good thing about our services, because our success rate of sales, we can work on a no fee basis with our solicitor. So most sales, estate agents or auction houses, the solicitors will charge you whether it sells or not because they've done the work.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Which is understandable. Whereas we don't, because we only list stuff we're definitely going to sell. The solicitors are happy to say, well, we'll do all the work for you. We'll generate the legal pack. We'll do all the conveyancing, and we'll get paid if it sells. If it doesn't sell, we don't charge your buyer. Don't charge your seller anything. So it's like it's no risk. You can also set, obviously, any seller will set a reserve price, so their bottom line of what they would accept, and we can't sell it for less than an amount.
Okay, so you fix the lower bar, so it can't
the
go
lower bar, yeah. So do you know what I mean? But as the last one we've just done, guided at 182, seller's reserve was 200,000, so their bottom line was 200,000.
Yeah,
and it sold for 264.
Right, don't sell it for less than 200, mate, or you owe me a drink.
Yeah,
but you got an extra 80 grand or whatever it was.
An extra 64 grand of what they thought they were going to get.
Yeah, that's amazing,
and then
mate.
An extra 80,000 above the guide price.
Yeah, so you can see that the demand for someone lists with you, the demand is pretty high at the moment still. Then isn't it?
Definitely demand. It's just getting a price right from the start. It's not overpricing it. See, estate agents work on the basis of we'll price it high, we'll reduce it a couple of times, then we'll get an offer below that, and that's where the even keel is. Where auction's different, we start off at the bottom, which then brings the most attraction because it's probably the cheapest in the area. We get them all through the door to get that momentum going.
Yeah.
You don't want to lose out. So that last one we sold, we had 13 registered bidders,
Wow.
65 bids, and the auction lasted 15 minutes. Do you know what I mean?
Danger.
So
I bet they love you at the moment, then, don't they? Or they will do.
so yeah, that's the thing. So auctions, it's changed over the years, auctions, from what it used to be.
Yeah, I remember going down the villa, and all it was houses that you couldn't even. There was no running water, there was no kitchens, there was no bathrooms. You know, there were developments, and that was before.
Yeah,
it was even on location, not to any TV programs about property or homes under the hammer. You know, they were right. You know, you had to go in there with cash on the day.
yeah.
You know.
That's the thing, and everyone's perception of auctions are now, it's still that same where it has to be there has to be a problem with a property. I think a lot of people are scared to say I'm selling my house by auction because they think, oh, what will the neighbours think? Do you know what I mean? Why am I selling it by auction? Why don't I just sell it by an estate agent? But it's everyone's different, isn't it? It's just time frame. When do you want to sell? Do you want to know?
Yeah. Well, that's it. It's that knowing factor, and you're almost giving that certainty versus uncertainty. And in an uncertain world, you don't want to be uncertain about anything. You know, so
No, especially when you're selling your biggest asset that you probably ever got. It's like the same thing about people who inherit properties, isn't it?
Yeah.
If you can imagine having to look after the property for 6 to 9 months, make sure there was no leaks, make sure there was no break-ins, make sure the insurance was paid, the council tax, everything's upkeep, keeping the gardens. It's a big job. People think when they inherit it, oh, it's brilliant, they want to get all this money, but you don't get the money when you sell it. So it's a lot of
it's a headache, isn't it? It's a headache. And when you got a job, or you're retired, or you got and then the worst thing is, if you don't live in the area, you got neighbours, you got to knock on that door and say, do you mind looking after whoever's house it was? You know what I mean?
We had one where there was a couple who weren't in the area, so
Yeah.
it was just be coming up before Christmas period, and they just wanted to get rid because they didn't want to have to go in after dark. So he said, well, the lady was like, I finish work, and by the time we get up here, it's an hour's drive. It's dark. I don't really want to come round throughout the whole December. And check the property in the dark. And that's the thing. It was a quicker process for them.
Yeah,
it was agreed.
Yeah, yeah, like you say, it's down to the person. So if you're if you've got a property on the Wirral in the area, and you just want to get rid of it, or you're in a situation where you can, make a quick move, then we'll arrange for somewhere around this video. I mean, we'll send the links out, but you can get a free online auction valuation, basically.
Just a free online auction. We're honest. We'll just tell you as it is. We'll tell you what we reckon it's going to achieve based on sold figures, not what's on the market. And it's kind of your decision to say, well, actually, I could sell now in 60 days, or we could sell 6 to 9 months. It all depends. And some people say, well, yeah, but I may get more money. But if you think of it logically, if you're selling 60 days and you've done the money's in the bank, or you sell 6 to 9 months, how much does it cost you to keep the house for 6 to 9 months?
That's a good shout.
Mortgages, bills,
council tax.
So there's a good potential you could save money by selling at auction, because the money's in the bank, it's yours.
Absolutely. So, well, is there anything else you need to sort of mention about the pros of auction? I think we've made a good enough point about, you can either go the slow route or the quick route. Anything else that you want to talk to the homeowners about, or is that pretty much it? Because
we work a bit different than most auction houses, because I was an estate agent many years ago, so our marketing we do is just as good as any local estate agent. We can do drone works, we can do walkthrough videos, we do a lot of stuff on social media. So we kind of market them like an estate agent would market it. It's just that it's auction. We do floor plans, where most auction houses just take a couple of pictures and kind of hope for the best, as you would say. So our marketing is very intense. Do you know what I mean? So we try and get the best out of the property as possible, whether that be something run down or something really nice. It doesn't change. Even if it's a rundown property, we still do the same process, because we get a lot of buyers buying off our YouTube videos. So they'll just watch a YouTube video and then the buyer will never come to see it. We had one recently in Tramways. I'd never met the buyer. He'd watched the video online, bid online. The day I went to give him the keys, I'd never met him. That was the first time I met him. So, because it's changing, isn't it? Everything's social media. We got a good follow on Facebook, good follows on Instagram.
Yeah, it's all gone virtual, and obviously, like you say, you can sell a house to someone across the world now.
Yeah,
you know, essentially, ID and all that sort of purposes aside, but you know, but yeah, I mean, they haven't got to be. It can be round the corner, or down the other side of the M6, like me. So you know,
you can be anywhere now.
Yeah,
I think auctions for people who are motivated to sell for whatever reason it could be. Doesn't make a difference about your property. It's about whether you want to have that concrete date when you're going to move. That's what auction's about. If you're happy you're not sure, you don't want to move that quick, or you don't want to sell that quick, then estate agent's the best route for you. And there's a lot of local estate agents out there on the Wirral that are good estate agents. But if you've got a time refrain, and you need to move at that point, you need to sell at that point, or you just want it done and dusted in a certain period of time, then there's no better method than auction, to be fair.
It is the auction. It is the auction way, because you know, you've got that certainty. You got everything up front where you haven't got to wait 9 months. You know, that 9 months when I was an estate agent, even though I still speak to sellers now, they put the house on the market, and obviously because you haven't sold in many years, you'll expect to move within 2 or 3 weeks. It's not the case at all. You got to wait. You got to look at. I mean, you know, it should be technically 12 weeks, but it hasn't been like that since 2006. long time. It's
a long time
process.
The whole process.
Yeah,
and I think the thing is a lot of people don't realize that how long it is.
It takes
to
forever.
get to the point of, and the reason auctions do so well is because it's statistically proven, especially on Rightmove, the first 2 weeks of a new listing, you get the most traction.
Yeah.
So that's why we have 4 weeks marketing, because we have the first 2 weeks, which is the most busiest period for any listing, because it's new, and everyone who's registered in that area will get that alert. And then we've got another 2 weeks of constantly marketing it, constantly sending out our text alerts to drum up more regarding, and then it's sold, then all being well, on the 4th week. Whereas if you can imagine, if you've seen a property a month, 2, 3 months ago, and it's still on the market, and it's maybe had a couple of price reductions, it starts dropping down, and then you reduce your price to hopefully get a bit of an influx. And then if that doesn't work, you have to do it again. It's a long-winded process.
It's time. That's time, then, isn't it? It's costing you money, which is valuable, but it's the biggest commodity. The biggest thing that we've all got to value is time. It takes, you know what I mean. So if you need that, like, deadline,
if you need that quick process,
reach out.
You need the quick process of, I know exactly what's happening. I know that actually, if it sells on that date, I'm going to get me money 30 days later, and it's all done and dusted. I can move on. Auction's the best route at the moment, especially with the way the economy is and the interest rates and everything that's happening. At least you know where you are as a seller, that actually, you know what, it's going to auction on the 28th. All being well, it sells. And the good thing is we monitor it the whole 4 weeks before an auction, so I can find out how many people have looked at the legal pack, how many people have fully registered to bid, how many people have download everything. We speak to all potential buyers and say, are you ready to go? So we know exactly how much interest we're going to have in each individual lot.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So we know exactly.
And how often are the auctions? How often are the auctions?
We run them monthly.
Monthly.
Every month, yeah.
Okay. And are they online or at a certain place, or are they
all online now? The thing is you can't. They used to be in the room, didn't they? Most people would go to a room, but we've found through data that we've done online, you can get thousands of registered bidders.
Millions, I mean, the world, couldn't you?
And also, if you look at it from a point of view of some people, we've found now that are buying online auction, through the online auction, wouldn't buy in a room, wouldn't go and bid.
No, for privacy,
for privacy and stuff like that. They feel a bit, whereas online they can have a cup of tea, get everything registered to go, and they're ready to go and enjoy the auction rather than. And plus, if you're out the area, what used to happen is we'd have out the area investors, say like a London investor, he'd come down and view it, which is a day. They'd go back home.
Yeah.
He'd then have to come back down again for another day.
Yeah.
To bid.
And
then he may not get it, so then you have to drive back down. Whereas online, you can buy it from your phone.
It's such a different world, and it's such
Yeah.
I mean, it's such a beautiful thing that you're saying there, you know, versus having to wait 6 or 7 months, possibly a year. That's if it goes through the first time. I mean, we're talking worst case scenario, I know, but you know, not to put the scares up anyone. Between 30 and 40% of any house sale, traditional, going down the estate agency route, falls out of bed. So waiting that long and then waiting another what? Look, what you're mentioning there about, you know, auctions online where you can, like you say, buy online. It's just buy on your phone. It's a different world.
Just buy on your phone, and then anyone can watch them. So as you say, the last one we sold in Spittle, it was actually the ladies in London. She watched online. The other gentleman, who's obviously it was his house, he was in the care home, but he still watched online. So it's all trying. The good thing about online auctions as well is when it's a probate case and there's multiple people in different areas, they can all watch it.
Yeah, executors. Yeah,
it's all open. It's all honest. You can see what it goes for. So it's a lot. We've done many a times where we've sent the link out, the auction link, to say 4 people. You know what I mean, like three sisters and 1 brother, so they can all watch it on the day. So they can all see exactly what happens.
Beautiful. Yeah, transparency. So if you're, I mean, we've got to end this now. If that's okay. You know, if you're a homeowner in the Wirral, or you know a property in the local area, and you're just thinking about, you know, you might want to take Ray up on his online auction valuation tool, we'll pop that around here somewhere up or below. We'll send you the links. We'll just click on them, just fill out the property information, and then just go through the. Very simple, isn't it? Not literally what took me about 20 seconds to get my valuation the other day.
20 seconds, and we can give you an honest valuation of what we think you'd achieve at auction.
Yeah,
and you can take it down to you to decide whether auction's for you. It's not about your property; it's more about you as a seller.
Yeah, situation basically more than, you know, where you need to be. So well, say goodbye to our one fan, Ray, and then we'll. There's only ever one fan on these videos, mate. So, but
no
we get a lot of replay. So we get on replay. So cool. No worries at all. And no problem
at all.
See you all soon.
Catch up soon. Cheers, Pete. Take care.